Karahan Tepe, the settlement that redefines the dawn of civilization. The story of human civilization, as taught for generations, is elegantly simple. Approximately 10,000 years ago, humans learned to farm, and this agricultural revolution provided the surplus food and stability that led to permanent villages, which in turn grew into complex societies with specialized labor, art, and religion. This narrative posits that necessity was the mother of invention. However, a series of staggering archaeological discoveries in the Tek Mountains of southeastern Turkey, centered on the site of Karahan Tepe, are systematically dismantling this long-held sequence. Karahan Tepe, along with its more famous relative Göbekli Tepe, presents a radical new premise: that hunter-gatherers first came together to build complex, permanent societies and monumental architecture for spiritual or social reasons, and agriculture was not the cause, but a consequence of this settled life. This essay will explore the discovery, architecture, and profound implications of Karahan Tepe, arguing that it represents not a single anomaly, but a foundational node in what appears to be the true cradle of complex human society, a civilization that flourished before the advent of farming. The story begins not with Karahan Tepe, but with the revelation of its sister site, Göbekli Tepe. Discovered in 1994, Göbekli Tepe stunned the archaeological world with its massive T-shaped stone pillars arranged in circular enclosures, intricately carved with a menagerie of animals, and dating back to around 9600 BCE. Its existence defied conventional wisdom because it was built by hunter-gatherers, long before the establishment of agriculture. For decades, Göbekli Tepe was viewed as a unique mountain sanctuary, a place to which nomadic groups pilgrimaged. However, this theory has been radically revised with the intensive excavation of Karahan Tepe. Discovered in a 1997 survey, Karahan Tepe is located about 46 kilometers east of Göbekli Tepe and is part of a larger cluster of at least 12 similar sites known as the Taş Tepeler, or Stone Hills. While often called Göbekli Tepe's sister site, emerging evidence suggests Karahan Tepe may be even older, with its foundation reaching back to between 10,000 and 9,500 BCE, potentially predating its sister by several centuries. More significantly, whereas Göbekli Tepe was initially interpreted as a purely ritual center, Karahan Tepe, from the outset, presented clear evidence of being a year-round settlement that integrated domestic life with monumental spiritual architecture. This crucial difference is what makes Karahan Tepe the key to unlocking a new understanding of the Neolithic Revolution. The architectural and artistic sophistication of Karahan Tepe is a direct testament to the advanced capabilities of its prehistoric builders. The site covers nearly 10 hectares, with an additional 5 hectares dedicated to quarries for the distinctive T-shaped pillars. Like Göbekli Tepe, these pillars are the site's hallmark. Over 266 of these monolithic pillars have been documented, many carved directly from the bedrock of the limestone ridge. They were arranged in circular or oval enclosures, often set in opposed pairs to create a sense of axial symmetry. The engineering prowess required for this is immense, implying a highly organized labor force and a sophisticated understanding of stoneworking. The iconography at Karahan Tepe is rich and complex. The pillars and walls are adorned with carvings of animals such as foxes, snakes, birds, particularly vultures, and wild mammals. However, Karahan Tepe exhibits a stronger emphasis on human representation than its sister site. Archaeologists have uncovered several stunningly detailed anthropomorphic statues, including a 2.3-meter-tall figure of a seated man rendered with carefully incised ribs, fingers, and a V-shaped collar, who holds his phallus with both hands. Another profound discovery is a T-shaped pillar into which a realistic human face was carved, one of the earliest known examples of a naturalistic human visage in monumental art. Perhaps the most revealing structure at Karahan Tepe is a special chamber that archaeologists have deduced was used for rites of passage. This room contains what the lead excavator, Nekmai Karul, describes as one of the most monumental and earliest examples of phallic symbolism. 11 giant penises carved directly from the bedrock. Watching over this space is a carved head with a beard attached to a serpent's body that emerges from the wall. The chamber features a separate entrance and exit, as well as a channel that may have been used to carry liquids, possibly water or even the blood of sacrificial animals, suggesting a highly formalized and complex ritual practice. The almost complete absence of female figures and the dominance of phallic and masculine imagery, including a relief of a man with leopards, provide a glimpse into a complicated belief system that may have been a precursor to organized religion. The most revolutionary implication of Karahan Tepe is its direct challenge to the core theory of the Neolithic Revolution. For decades, the prevailing scientific consensus was that the domestication of plants and animals is what compelled humans to abandon their nomadic lifestyle and establish permanent settlements. The mounting evidence from Karahan Tepe turns this sequence on its head. According to Professor Carroll, this shows that settled life begins when humans were still hunter-gatherers, and that agriculture is not a cause, but the effect of settled life. Excavations have revealed that the sacred and secular spaces at Karahan Tepe were built simultaneously, and people lived there year-round for approximately 1,500 years, yet no remnants of farmed vegetation have been found. This suggests that it was the pull of a shared social and spiritual project, the collective building and maintenance of a permanent ritual center that first brought people together to live in one place. The large-scale organization required for quarrying, carving, and erecting multi-ton pillars implies a stratified society with division of labor, something previously thought impossible for pre-agricultural peoples. As Professor Mehmet Özdoğan, Professor Emeritus of Archaeology at Istanbul University states, "We must now rethink what we knew, that civilization emerged from a horizontal society that began raising wheat because people were hungry, and assess this period with its multifaceted society." Karahan Tepe was not a lone city but part of a vast and sophisticated cultural network. The Taş Tepeler project has identified a constellation of contemporaneous settlements stretching over 100 kilometers in southeastern Turkey. This means that 12,000 years ago, this region was a vibrant hub of cultural and technological innovation. The shared symbolic language, the T-shaped pillars, the specific animal iconography, and the architectural styles across these sites points to a shared culture or belief system spanning a vast area. This was not a fledgling experiment, but a flourishing civilization. The people of Karahan Tepe and the surrounding stone hills demonstrated a collective intelligence that allowed them to execute complex engineering projects, develop a rich symbolic and artistic tradition, and sustain a settled social structure for millennia, without relying on domesticated crops. This network represents the true and previously unknown cradle of Western civilization. Its discovery suggests that the origins of our settled societal way of life lie not in the practical need for food, but in the human yearnings for community, meaning, and a connection to the cosmos. Desires that compelled hunter-gatherers to achieve the extraordinary. In conclusion, the question, did civilization begin at Karahan Tepe, can be answered with a resounding and revolutionary yes, provided we redefine our understanding of civilization's origins. Karahan Tepe may not have been the very first site, but it is a pivotal and revealing component of the world's earliest known complex society. It forces us to abandon the simplistic equation that agriculture leads to settlement. which in turn leads to culture. Instead, the evidence from the Turkish foothills reveals a different genesis. Culture and a shared spiritual vision came first. It was the human impulse to build, create, and worship together that provided the organizational template and social glue necessary for settled life. The need to sustain these large, permanent communities may have then acted as a powerful pressure to develop agriculture. Karahan Tepe is not merely an archaeological site. It is a paradigm shift carved in stone. Its buried pillars and enigmatic statues testify to a lost chapter in human history, one where civilization began not with a seed of wheat, but with a shared idea, and where the first cities were not built for survival, but for the soul. Subscribe for more.